So adding and subtracting polynomials is kind of fun. In this first polynomial, it's a trinomial, and then we're going to add it to this trinomial. We don't need those parentheses. There's nothing to distribute. It's just a 1 in front here. So you could just write them without the parentheses. 14y squared plus 6y minus 4 plus 3y squared plus 8y plus 5. So it's kind of long to write them all out. You've got 6 terms there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look for the ones you can combine. So the 14y squared and the 3y squared, you can combine those. Now sometimes people like to write it so they're together, like they'll write the 14y squared plus 3y squared, and then they'll write the 6y, this one here, and the 8y together because they're going to combine those, and then they look at the negative 4. Oops, let me put a plus in there. A negative 4 plus 5. I don't usually do that. It's just too much writing for me. And it's not necessary. It might get confusing. But if it helps you to do that, by all means, go ahead and do that. I just look at the terms and say, okay, this one and this one, that's going to be a 17y squared. And then the squiggly one, that's 6y and 8y. They're both positive, so that's going to be a 14y. And then I look at this and I say negative 4. And I have to look at that as a negative 4. The sign in front of the coefficient will tell you if it's positive or negative. And then a 5, so that's going to be plus 1. So that's how the polynomial combines. Please don't do any more because it would be wrong. So you can't combine anymore because they're not like terms. Y squared is one of them and the y is another term, and you can't add those together. This is like an apple, this is like an apple pie. Okay, that's how I think of it. Another way you could write these is you can stack them. So you can write 14y squared plus 6y minus 4, and we're going to add 3y squared. See, I'm lining up the terms, the like terms, so I can just add them. And then you can combine them that way. So sometimes this is a handy way to do it. I don't usually do it this way, but you can. It's pretty handy. Okay. So now let's look at a subtraction problem. We always have to be careful when it's subtraction. So please remember, when it's subtraction, be careful. So it says find the difference. You've got a trinomial here, and then we're going to subtract this binomial here. Well, because I'm going to subtract, I'm going to have to distribute that subtraction sign. So I'll have the 8x squared plus 3x minus 19. That one's not going to change. Then it's going to be minus 7x squared. Usually people are okay with that. But then it's minus a minus or plus 14. That often gets mistaken, okay? People make a mistake right there. So don't let it happen to you. Remember to distribute the subtraction sign, because you have to subtract all of the polynomial that's in parentheses, okay? All right, so it's like you're removing the parentheses, but because it's subtraction, now we have to do the distributing with that minus sign. Okay, now I'm going to look for like terms. I have an 8x squared minus 7x squared. That is 1x squared. Sometimes students like to write the 1. You won't see it in the textbooks that way. They're not going to write it, but I don't care if you write it. 3x. Do I have any x's? Nope, just that 3x. And then I have a negative 19 and a positive 14. Now you might have to go over to the side and say, well, what's negative 14 and, I'm sorry, negative 19 plus 14? It's going to be a negative 5, so I'm going to write minus 5. You won't write plus a negative 5. You could, but we don't. We write it as subtracting 5. So the real answer I would write would be x squared plus 3x minus 5. And so we get a trinomial in the end, and there it is.